we're in Philly, and well, this is all about Boston. And that guy right there, Jayson Tatum, with the 3 plus the foul to make this one a 4-point play. He finished with 30 points, 7 rebounds, and 11 assists. Hey, speaking of three-pointers, Boston took 24 threes. They win 128-96. We're joined by CBS Sports NBA analyst John Gonzalez in an absolute deconstruction of the Sixers by the Celtics in Game 4. They managed to pick them even with Joel Embiid returning, and I want to talk more about Embiid returning in just a minute. But while Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, let's be honest, they were both productive. They didn't even have to carry the offense in this one. I want to know what stood out to you most just in this dominating win we did see on the road for the C's.
Yeah, this is the version of the Celtics that we expected to see for much of the series. The Sixers stole a game in Game 2 on the road in Boston, and, credit to them. But the Celtics are just so much better, and we saw it tonight. You mentioned the Jays didn't even have to carry them because Pritchard went absolutely wild. He goes for 32 points, almost set a Celtics franchise record for most points coming off the bench in a playoff game, just 2 off of what Kevin McHale did back in the day. But he was also 6 of 12 from deep. And the Celtics have had a theory of the case, Kiana, for a while now, and that is they're going to take more threes and make more threes than the opposition. Some nights they don't fall, then they're gettable. Tonight they fell. They took 53 three-point attempts and made 24. The Sixers couldn't come anywhere close to that, right? They took 30 and only made 9. It was sort of reminiscent of Game 1 when they only made 4. And I kind of like, on the one hand, I think, the Sixers can't really keep up with that. On the other hand, I think, what were the Sixers thinking not taking more threes earlier in this game before it got out of hand? Because you knew what the Celtics were doing. You saw how hot Peyton Pritchard was. And before you knew it, they tipped the ball, Kiana, and the game was over.
It literally was from the start of this game, and the Boston didn't look back at any point. You would think we would see a little bit of a different play, a different juice from Philly because Joel Embiid making his return. And let's be honest, he did look strong in stretches and still got you 26, 10, and 6. But do you think his return actually changed the flow enough for Philly, or did Boston just adjust too quickly?
I mean, it didn't matter that he was out there. It was great to see him out there, and he played 34 minutes, and that was way more than I think anybody anticipated that he would be out there. I thought he would have been on a minutes restriction, maybe 20 to 25 minutes. Don't forget that he's only 17 days removed from having his appendix out, but he looked fantastic. He wasn't the problem tonight. It was just that the Celtics absolutely swarmed the Sixers and overwhelmed them. It was so bad, Kiana. So I take notes, right? I'm a professional analyst here, so I take little notes on the game, and I'm looking at my notes here for the Sixers, and it says disastrous first quarter. And then there aren't any more notes because there was nothing else to note about the Sixers except for that Joel Embiid returned, and then they got swarmed and swamped, and this is almost over. There's only 4 more quarters left of Sixers basketball. The Celtics are going to wrap this thing up in Game 5.
Okay, well, I do want to talk a little bit more about Game 5 because, listen, nothing is guaranteed. Anything can happen. Their backs are against the wall. But if you are Philly, what is the one thing that gives you belief that this series can still get back to Game 6?
To get back to Game 6. I mean, this has happened in the past with the Sixers where, they'll steal another game and then they'll just prolong their humiliation against the Celtics. I am actually surprised, as you and I have discussed here on this program, that they even got Game 2 and stole one in the series. I thought it was going to be a sweep, but the Sixers aren't, and certainly Sixers fans aren't deluded into thinking that they could actually win this series. As everybody knows, the Sixers and the Celtics have played the most playoff series of any 2 teams in NBA history against each other, right? And the Celtics always come out on top. They have come out on top in every single postseason series against the Sixers since 1982. It's 2026. I would be shocked if the Sixers steal another game in Boston and force Game 6 because, again, the Celtics are just that much better than them. I anticipate that the Celtics will win that game. I think it's a 1-2-3 Cancun situation for the Sixers, and everybody will say the Celtics are moving on.
An ever so kind gentleman's sweep that John is anticipating happening with this series, but nonetheless, it's tough when you have Tatum, you have Brown, and you have Pritchard combining for 82 points, I believe, of their 128. It's going to be a hard trio and just roster because of their depth as well, but a hard roster to stop. But Sixers are going to try to do it as Game 5. That's set for Tuesday, and I know you and I will be talking about it. We'll see how everything takes shape. Thank you so much, John Gonzalez, as always, taking a look at the largest road win in Celtics playoff history. This game, their 32-point victory, is tied for the longest. And we remember back in 2010 against the Cavaliers, they had another masterful performance against the Pistons back in 1991. And now Boston just one win away.
Go back to Celtics postgame live, taking a look at Peyton Pritchard, what he was able to do tonight. This is presented by Arbella Insurance, here for New England, here for good. 32 points, second most off the bench in a playoff game in Celtics history. Only Kevin McHale back in 1991.
He shuffled Eddie down.
Hey, Eddie House was destroying people that game.
Tell me more about that.
What do you remember?
And I remember there was a jump ball, and he asked me to set a flare for him. Off a jump ball? He's like, trust me. We went into the jump ball. I set a flare. I think maybe it was Rondo. Sprayed it out to the corner, knocked it down. He had it going. Every play we ran was like, just find Eddie.
And as a result, he had 31 in that one. Of course, you guys went on to win the title. And back here on Celtics postgame live, Celtics with a 3-1 series lead, which is why you hear all the fans here at Treehouse Greater Boston chanting Season 5. They would not be in this position, though, if it weren't for Peyton Pritchard. They probably wouldn't be in this position if it weren't for Jayson Tatum, what he was able to do tonight as well, Scout. Take a look at the 30 points, the 7 rebounds, 11 assists, doing a little bit of everything. Chris brought up the third quarter run that he went on. What did you think of Tatum in this game?
So, I feel like he looks normal. He's back to getting where he wants. Maybe after, when he's driving, getting to his spots, knocking down shots, I feel like he's back. He doesn't have to force anything, and he can go back to dominating again. And that's hopefully we see more of that throughout the playoffs, so we're going to need it.
Second half, 25 points, 7 of 9 shooting, 5 of 6 on threes, 7 assists. I mean, it's easy to forget. He just played so poorly in the first half. The ability to be able to flush a bad half and be that impactful in the second half is remarkable to me. And he was you could just tell. I don't know if there's something about the Sixers that just energizes him a little bit. I guess he does it to everybody, but man, when he gets hot, look at that swagger. And when the three-point shot is falling, different level.
Yeah, 5 of 10 from 3 in this game. If anything, you went back to the first 2 games in this series where he was kind of struggling maybe to find that rhythm, to find that shot from the outside, but 5 of 10 from 3 in this one. And there is something about maybe playing in Philadelphia. Remember that Game 6 going back a few years ago?
I'm telling you, when a team passes on you in the draft, you don't forget about it.
Okay.
Tatum might just have a little something extra when he sees
that's not really fair.
Why?
Danny swindled him. I think he gets swindled by Danny Ainge.
He can still use it, though, if he wants to.
Oh, man, I guess so. You're right. You're right. Pro athletes, we always find motivation. I guarantee he doesn't think about that.
You don't
ever.
know. I bet he does.
You know what? I'm going to ask him.
NBA players are super petty.
No, I don't think Tatum is like, I can't believe Philly passed up on me.
Oh, I think you're wrong.
All right.
We'll bet a Treehouse beer on it.
I got a year's supply. I won the contest, so we'll bet as much as you want.
By the way, someone already lost a bet because these are still full, and I think they would have bet that they would have been gone by the time this game ended tonight.
I don't know where Forsberg went during the game. It disappeared.
Let's go back to the first quarter where the Celtics